Now, as you know, South Australia started to open up its borders. It's been pretty much a zero COVID state, and they warned that you're going to get some cases when you open the borders. 18 new infections today and a bit of drama. Let's cross to David Penberthy, the News Corp columnist, Australian reporter and breakfast host on 5AA in Adelaide. And Pembo, you've ended up in isolation at home now because of COVID, right?
Yeah, poor old Jay Weatherill, he's sort of become the typhoid Mary of South Australia over the last couple of days. He's now based in Perth, the ex-premier, and works over there for Twiggy Forrest's Minderoo Foundation, doing a lot of good work on early childhood education. He came over to combine work with play when SA opened the borders up last week. We're already open to Western Australia, but we opened to New South Wales, we opened to Victoria. And aside from having some commitments here in town on education matters, he also attended a high school reunion, his old school that you'd know it, Chris, Henley High.
Yep.
About 50 of his mates got together in Norwood. And it sounds kind of quaint using the term, particularly with a lot of Sky viewers being based in Melbourne and Sydney. But in a state, as you rightly said, which has had no COVID for months now, the fact that we've got 18 cases, this is now known here as a super spreader event, this event that the former Premier was at. But what's happened since then is all of the other people that he met while he was here, and it includes like pretty much the sort of tout le monde of the upper echelons of South Australia's political leadership. The new governor, Frances Adamson, who until recently was the DFAT secretary, she met him over the weekend, so she's now in isolation. The opposition leader, Peter Malinauskas, he's in isolation.
It's just great. So the former Premier comes home and he's put everyone in isolation because they shut down the Parliament too because he visited there, and you're in isolation because you had him, I think we just saw on screen, you had him in the studio for an interview on 5AA.
Yeah, and as you know, mate, my wife is now out of politics, but for a long time she was the member for Adelaide. She had lunch at the Central Market with him
talk about
some early childhood stuff that she's working on. She took our 4-year-old son along as well. So as a result, all of us have had to get tested at home, all of my kids. My parents had to get tested, and my co-host and I have been kicked out of the radio station for a week. We did the show via Microsoft Teams this morning from home, which was a total disaster.
I bet, because you're not a tech head. And I tell you what, going to the Central Markets, he might have infected half of Adelaide. It is kind of hilarious. This is the nice bloke, Jay Weatherill, shocking lefty, but nice bloke. But he's the bloke who gave South Australia the statewide blackout. Now he's giving it the COVID lockdown.